So today I'm going to show you how to use a reference image function of Flux AI. So here you can see I'm running this in replicate.com, which is the platform I prefer to use Flux under. And if you're not sure how to get set up with this, then I'll put a link in the description to a beginner's tutorial I've created that shows you the absolute basics of getting started. So now we're in the Flux dev module here, and you see it's got this option called image, file, and enter a URL, paste a file or drag a file over. So I'm just going to drag one in from my desktop that is actually an image I created previously in Flux of a dog jumping, trying to catch this burger. So how the image reference works is it's going to take, it's not taking pixels from the original image, it's not taking it and modifying the original image, but it's analyzing it, and it's trying to take key elements from this over to your new request or your reprompt, based on lighting, composition, position, and all these kind of things. So if I just put, for example, in the prompt, now if I just put cat, now I can't remember the original prompt to this, so you don't have to use the original prompt because the visual guide is going to do most of the legwork. So I could just put cat, jumping, trying to catch a burger, right? So I've not mentioned whether it's inside, outside, anything like that, just a very basic prompt. I'm going to click run. Now the aspect ratio is ignored using an image prompt. It will take the closest aspect ratio of the actual reference itself and use that. So hopefully when this is finished in a moment, we're going to see something, here we go, very similar. So we've got the same position. Obviously you can see the similarities are quite close. It's made the burger look a little bit different, but again, it's not recreating it using pixels from the original image. It's just regenning it from within Flux, but using original details as guidelines. So you can see even the ears of the cat are in a sort of similar orientation as the dog. So using this method, you can create loads of variables and like a catalogue of variants based off one single image. And you can do anything with this. Now you've got this premise. If you were doing this work for a client and they said, oh, this is great, but we don't want it to be burgers, we want it to be something completely different, of course you can go and change that as well. So go at trying to catch donut, and we'll click run. Now there is another option we've got here to adjust the balance between the original reference image and how much the prompt influences that, and that's a slider a little bit further down called prompt strength, which I'll show you in a minute. So there we go. So now we've changed it to a donut, and we've got a cat in a similar position, still using the original reference image, and you get the idea. So the only other thing you can play with that relates to the image reference is the prompt strength number. Now this is defaulted to 0.8, which is actually a really solid general use case. And as you can see here, it's kept enough of the original sort of position, lighting, and everything like that to be able to make a really convincing sort of partner image to the original. But you can adjust this left or right. So if you go less than 0.8, the more to the left you go, the more that the original reference image will influence the final image. So just for extreme sake, if you took this all the way down to 0, it'd just replicate the original reference image 100%. It'd just duplicate it basically. If you're all the way to the right, it would be as if you're not using a reference image at all, and it would 100% be using the prompt. And so how this is useful is if you run it on 0.8, and let's say, for example, it was a little bit further away from the reference than you'd like, you can nudge it in one way or the other to just kind of tweak it in that direction. So we could maybe nudge it down to 0.7 or 0.75. A little goes a long way in this adjustment. And then it's going to use a little bit more of the data from the original image in the final result. And then if you do it the other way, it's going to be a bit more prompt sort of heavy. So let me show you what that means in real terms. So we're on 0.8. Let's put that to 0.95, just so it's still using a tiny bit of the reference image, or maybe 0.991, whatever. It's still using a bit of the reference image. If we run that again, and you're going to see something that is hopefully displays that it's going to be using less, it's sticking less to the reference to give you the output. So it's going to listen more to your prompt basically. So if you put more specific terms in your prompt, they will be displayed more accurately in this. So here you've got, again, from the original now, we're pushing that value so high that the only things it's really kept is the fact that the animal is on the left of the shot and the item of food's on the right of the shot. And it's got similar colour tones and lighting, but obviously this cat's now inside. It's not the same position, it's not the same angles, the donuts on the floor. So you can see where this is going. Whereas if we put the prompt strength, let's say down to something like 3 or 3.5, this is probably going to look very similar to the original shot, because now we've got a lot more influence of the reference image itself in the final result and not as much of the prompt. So you can see here it's just changing a bit of the fur. It's just changing some small details. The dog's starting to look slightly less like itself. And actually, if we tweak this even more, let's do like 0.5 something and run. We're going to now start to get a bit of a weird animal hybrid between a dog and a cat, because it's taking the dog from the original reference now, and it's introducing more of the cat elements. So you get this like cat nose starting to come in and the eyes starting to change. So you can actually get some really interesting sort of animal hybrids and sort of image hybrids by doing it this way. But that's basically all there is to it, and it's very useful to get a continuation on a theme that you've generated, even if the image hasn't not come from Flux in the first place. It could be a photograph, could be from Midjourney, could be a drawing that you've done on a piece of paper. Anything works, and it's super handy.